everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Thursday night, and every other Thursday night I jump on and do a mystery challenge with you. So on the alternate weeks, I do a technique. But tonight's a mystery challenge, and I posted the Tic Tac Toe challenge earlier this morning so that you could be ready and hopefully make a card along with me, because I can't wait to see what you choose for this Tic Tac Toe. So if you've never done a Tic Tac Toe challenge before, the idea is it's like bingo. So what you do is you choose a line, either horizontally, can't say that, vertically or diagonally. And so there's lots to choose from on this Tic-Tac-Toe. So hopefully you found a line that you can play along with. Hello, I'm not sure who that is. Don't forget, if you're coming in through Facebook, my Facebook group, to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give Facebook permission. Otherwise, unfortunately, I only see a Facebook user. I actually don't see your name. So tell me who you are so I can make sure I know who I'm talking to. Yeah, so I use an application called StreamYard to go live. And if you don't give permission, and you may have to repeat it, not every time, but at least every so often, I can't see who's actually commenting. All right, so let me switch over. Hello, Nancy, welcome. And show you, so you may not be able to read this. So this went live earlier. It's a little blurry for me. Maybe it's not so blurry for you. This went live earlier. And so if you didn't see it, you can go back to my group or on Instagram and find it. So the options are vellum, embossing folder, silver, and then blue, fancy fold, snowflake, heat embossing, snowman, leaves. Lots of options for you. I kind of had a Christmas theme in mind, I guess, when I did this, just based on what I see out of it, but maybe you see something else. I'm going to use the middle line. So this horizontal line, blue, fancy fold, and a snowflake, because I have an idea for a card. It kind of incorporates a few other things, because I could also go this way, vellum, blue, and heat embossing, because I'm going to use those as well. And technically I could go this way with heat embossing, fancy fold, and silver. So I have lots of options here. So hopefully you found one that will work for you. And don't forget to share your card when you've made it in my Facebook group. And the link to that is underneath this video. All right, let's get started. So I am using, let me just take the label out of this because it's glare. It's a glare. So I'm using the Joyful Flurry bundle. So I love this bundle of the snowflakes. So there are some snowflakes you can stamp, and then of course cut out using these great dies. Oh, okay, well, watch me, and then maybe you'll have some ideas, Sandy. And then there are these are dies to cut out snowflakes. These actually cut out snowflakes that have I'm going to say embossed. It's more than embossing because it actually cuts them. So it cuts little lines but doesn't cut out openings, if that makes any sense at all. They're kind of fun. It's a bit of a different look to what gets cut out. And then two great label dies, stitched. I love anything stitched. All right, so that's the dies, and then of course I love these sentiments that are included, as well as these pretty snowflakes. Okay, so my idea for this fancy fold, I am going to make a card that will stand up, and you know what, as I'm thinking about this, I think I already folded this, scored this, because I was trying to think about it. And I'm going to have to get another piece of paper because clearly I've scored it the wrong. My idea is, well, actually I'm going to change it up. I was going to make a fancy fold that you could you could put, actually you could still do this. It won't be a fancy fold, but gosh, I'm changing my mind because I've kind of messed up the score lines, but I'm still going to make this card. My idea is to make a card that will stand up that you could put a tea light in. And so I'm going to cut an opening in this that will put vellum behind the opening and decorate it. And then you can put a tea light in and you will be able to see the light through the vellum. So that's kind of my idea. I was going to do it as a fancy fold, but I'm just going to do it as a regular card. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it already at 5 1/2. And then I folded on the score line. This is the raised line, so always fold into that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. I'm going to use, these are the Stylish Shapes dies. So I'm going to cut a hole, and that's what you will see the light through. So I'm going to use the largest of the Stylish Shapes, and I'm just going to kind of put that in place. I'm eyeballing roughly so that it's equal distance from the sides. I just want to kind of hold it in place. All right, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we will run this through. So I only want one level or one layer. So I'm just going to open that up and we will run it through and cut this. So it's been a long time. So since I've made one of these cards where you can put a tea light in, and I just had this idea that with vellum would be a good idea. All right, so there's my opening, stitched opening. That's always good. These Stylish Shapes have become my go-to. They're the first one I absolutely always grab. So then I cut a piece out of vellum, and this is cut 4 by 4, and we're just going to put this behind. So we're going to have an opening like this. I don't have a tea light to show you, but you can imagine that there'll be a tea light. So I'm just going to use, get that going. I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. This is hidden, so I'm not too worried about the adhesive showing. But I'm just going to put adhesive all the way around my opening and then my vellum on the inside of that opening. And you can see here, if you're watching, this is why I always struggle on what kind of adhesive to use on vellum, because you really want to hide your adhesive that you're using. Okay, so now I've got my, get that a good crease again, there we go, my vellum adhered. Okay, so now how are we going to decorate this? I think I am going to do a couple of things. So I am going to do some heat embossing using Versamark and some of the snowflakes. And then we will cut them out using the dies. Oops. The label. I'm going to use just 2 of the snowflakes, and then let's see, what shall I use? This one, it's a season of, that'll be my label. Okay, so I've got a piece of Night of Navy, and I'm going to grab, so I've got my embossing additions kit here and my embossing buddy. Hey Kay, welcome. How are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you? So this is Embossing Buddy. It's the best thing that Stampin' Up's come out with recently. At least, I mean, not truly, but it's so nice to have an embossing buddy back. So I'm just going to kind of rub my embossing buddy over my Night of Navy, and you do that to remove the static, so that when you put your embossing powder on this, it won't stick. So I'm just going to stamp a couple of these snowflakes and one of these ones. I may not use all of these. And then the other thing that I'm going to stamp is my sentiment. And here at the bottom. Now you probably can't see those. In a little bit you can. Now let me bring in my, I've got the white embossing powder. And there we go. All right, so I'm just going to take this and sprinkle my embossing powder over. Just flick this. There we go. That looks pretty good. Get that out of the way. All right, now I'm going to bring in my heat tool. And I'm going to bring in these great tweezers that come with this kit. There's a brush, so if you do have extra embossing powder on, you can actually brush it away. That hopefully will stop it from being on your paper when you your cardstock. And this might get a little loud for a minute, but hopefully it'll disappear. And we will just heat this. So hold it in one spot over your embossing powder until you start to see it go from this dull matte finish to being shiny. And you know that then you can start moving your heat tool around the image so that you get the entire image embossed, heat embossed. It doesn't take long once it actually starts to heat up. You don't want to overheat it, so once it starts to melt, you can really just kind of move it. If you overheat it, over emboss it, the embossing powder will just kind of start absorbing into the paper. So if you heat it too much, there we go. All right, there are all of my snowflakes heat embossed. So now we can figure out which, I think that's the one for that one. So again, I'm going to just use Post-it note tape to hold these in place. You can use Post-it note or washi tape. And then that one. This one. No, not that one. Maybe. All right. Maybe it's that one. I think that other one would have worked too. And this one, there we go. Get the right dies. I think that's right, hopefully. Get another. And then my label as well. Got my extra pieces of, after I use the Post-it note tape, I just kind of put them over here by my light. And so I can reuse them. There we go. Okay, let's bring in my cutter again. And run that through. Oh, hey, Kathleen, welcome. Hey, Betty. Oh, Lene, welcome. Oh, I miss you in Baltimore too. My goodness, Lene, it's so nice to see you. Lene and I are colleagues, and she's in Baltimore this week for meetings that I'm not at. So I'm glad you popped in to say hello. I miss seeing everybody. Lene is from Norway. Right. Hey, Kathleen, welcome. Glad you're here. Haven't seen you for a while. All right, running that last snowflake through. And we've got all of the cutting done that we need to do. Oh, dropping things. Okay. Get my pieces out. Aren't these pretty snowflakes? I love snowflakes. All right, there we go. So we've got our pieces and we've got our card base. All right, so I want to put this here, but I want to put, so my idea is just to kind of decorate this with some of these snowflakes, kind of like that. But I want to put something underneath this because it's kind of almost disappears. So this is the metallic mesh ribbon. It's quite wide. So I'm just going to take a piece that is about 4 1/4 inches. I'm not going to measure, but I'm just going to take a piece like that. That's roughly the width of my card base. And then I'm going to take my Stamp and Cut, or my Stamp and Seal, and I'm going to just kind of put it in the middle there and adhere that down. This will also be held on. There we go. That just kind of pops that a little bit. And then we can use some dimensionals. Now these are black dimensionals. I don't pull them out very often, but when I've got dark cardstock, these black dimensionals work really well. They come in a package of, I think you get 2 of the black, 2 of the large and 2 of the small or the mini dimensionals in the same package. So if you've never seen them, take a look. They work really well when you've got dark cardstock. Okay, so we're just going to put that on there. And now let's see. So I'm going to use dimensionals. And again, I'm going to use the dark dimensionals. What I do want to make sure is that I put the dimensionals kind of on my card base rather than on, so that's not showing in the vellum when you open the card, if that makes sense. So we're just going to take and put these like that. And I'm going to, where's my other one? Here it is. And we'll put that up. As I said, there we go. One up there. And maybe one right there. And I wish I had a tea light to show you how pretty this will look. So I'm just going to kind of partly tuck this underneath like that. Okay, now I've got a piece of basic white cardstock and I'm just going to take and stamp these little, one of these little snowflakes. I'm not going to do a sentiment on this one, but I'm just going to take and stamp the little sentiment, or the little snowflakes. Oops, I got a brand new Night of Navy ink pad here, so I'm going to open it. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm just going to take and stamp some of these little snowflakes down here at the bottom. They won't show through, which is kind of what I want, because I just want it to be white through there so that the focus is on the card. All right, I'll put this on. I know this mesh ribbon is so pretty. I just love it. Okay, I'll put that on like that. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to use, actually, you know what? I did this the other night. I pulled out these amazing, wonderful snowflakes with the thought that I was going to use them, and then I forget to do that. So maybe, can I do this? Yeah, okay, I have a half one. So these actually are iridescent on one side and plain on the other. So if you wanted to color them, you absolutely could. But I'm just going to take and use a glue dot. So this is one of a that I cut in half for another project. So I'm just going to take and pick up a glue dot, she says. All right, let's use the take your pick tool to get that off. There we go. And then I'm just going to take and kind of tuck this underneath these. These were in last year's annual or holiday catalog, and they got brought back, and I love the fact that they were brought back. So, okay, now somewhere I have, these are the adhesive back sequins and gems, and if you haven't seen these, they kind of get hidden, I think, in the catalog. They are on the same page as the Joyful Flurry bundle. And they come in Fresh Freesia, Pool Party, and then these ones that are silver. So I'm going to just take and use some of these ones. And just kind of make kind of a little kind of snowflake here on the side. Kind of reminds me of a brooch, but it's kind of pretty. There we go. Just trying to get that. There we go. Right. So I will try and get a tea light so that this this stands and you can see. I said I wish I had a tea light, but I don't. Anyway, there was my idea of the card, and again, kind of switched it up here. Not so much a fancy fold, but vellum, blue, and heat embossing. So I followed it. Like I said, I had all sorts of lines covered off with my idea. But I hope you'll play along with it and join my Facebook group and share your cards so that I can see what you make using this Tic Tac Toe challenge. All right, I will be back live on Saturday. I will be a little later than I normally am, so I'll be live at 1 o'clock Pacific on Saturday instead of my normal 11, but I have a team meeting on Saturday, so hopefully that you'll be able to join me, and I'll be back with a project. Hey, Madeline, welcome. And then I'll be live again on Sunday at 12 noon Pacific. So catch me either live or on the replay on the weekend. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Glad you were able to make it. Also, if you came in through YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.